Right, so I've got the character here. I'll spin it round. So you've got the arm controller, which works like that. You've got the elbow controller, which works like that. And the next thing to do is put the clavicle controller on, which is what I showed you on the last one. So that's clavicle goes from there, clavicle up to the shoulder, which is there. So you essentially just need a controller on that bit there. Right. Make sure it's rotating console. Up there. Right. This audio later on. IK handle. It's IK handle 1, it should be IK handle 4, so I kind of delete it and redo it. So go skeleton, IK handle tool, put it in again. That's better. So now I know it's IK handle 4, that's right. It moves up and down. That's what the clavicle does. It doesn't do very much. Rename it, it's very important. Everything should be renamed. So that's right, clavicle, okay. Then grab a controller. There we go. Make it a little bit bigger so we can see it above this quite bulky mesh. Rotate it so it goes at the top of the arm. Rotate by 90, type it in so it's exact. Note to self, remember to freeze it. Okay, and just turning on point, snap to point, so I can actually snap it to that shoulder. Then I can turn the mesh on, so I can see. Yeah, that's fine. So it just sticks out the top. So you can just grab that IK handle and move it up and down. It doesn't move very much. Your clavicles can't do that much. You can basically shrug, go in small circles, but nothing much. So you can kind of limit that. Make sure you turn the points off. Snap to point. So now you can just grab that, and then you can just parent that, so it just moves up and down. Right. Now that's done. That's a bit of housekeeping from last session. So I'm going to start working on the head next. Now there's two ways of doing the head. First of all is a deformer, which is a blend deformer, or morph targets as they call them in 3D Studio Max. So you've got the arm there. I don't know why I'm explaining this bit. I must explain at this point I lost the audio for this one before, so I'm re-recording the audio in a room full of my students. And you can just hear it, you can just hear yourselves in the background, I bet. Steve's looking at me and laughing. I don't know why he's laughing. Right. So just looking around the head a bit. I gotta go on so much. Right, so blend deformers, yeah, they're great for doing things like sorting tears in meshes, and they're really quick to do, and because they're really quick, they're really useful, but they're really actually quite heavy, as explained in the lesson. So you've got to either use them sparingly or just use bones. I actually probably prefer them to bones, but not everybody does. Right, so I'm just pausing it for some reason there. I think I went to the toilet. I didn't need to say that. Right, so there's the head. Chinson's just laughing in the corner. Right, so first of all we're going to put a neck controller on. So we've got the neck, a snap to point on the actual vertebrae. Watch where you're putting the neck, don't make it too near the IK. It should be kind of one bone removed from the spline IK of the spine. If it is, then that neck won't affect anything else. If it isn't, then that neck control will affect the spline IK underneath it, and it'll end up doing some kind of crazy dance. So that's the neck bone I'm using. Okay, click maintain offset. This is a parent constraint. It's exactly the same as parent. If you use a parent, the bones will disappear. So just put in parent constraint. And the parent constraint, so I can rotate the neck a little bit and move the neck a little bit, because you can kind of do that moving the neck thing. But remember to, if you do the moving the neck thing, to limit that control, because otherwise the bones will grow and fly away. So watch what you're doing at that bit. So that's the neck control. And then another control here. This one's for the head. So turn the snap off fill. Turn the snap off. Move it, scale it a bit. And I have to keep reminding myself, make sure that you freeze all the controllers and everything. So just snap that to the point above. And this control here is for the actual head itself. So I'm just increasing that in size. There, that goes on the head. Okay, there we go. So it just moves a tiny bit. It does stretch that joint. I think purists would probably go, you shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. But it's only going to move a tiniest little bit on that bone. Yeah, kind of moving forward and backward. Right, so snap to that bone. And then again you can do a parent constraint. You don't really need the translate on the head. So an orient constraint's actually fine. If you can get into the habit of resetting the settings every time you do it, but you have to click on maintain offset off again. So apply that, changes colour, and I'll just try that out. It should rotate nicely. So that's the head, kind of looking around. And make sure you freeze the controller out, and make sure it's named properly as well. Yeah, glad you're doing that. Okay, control, make sure you stick to your naming convention. CTRL. And the neck, CTRL. Excellent. Fantastic. Now, I'm going to go on about blend shapes for a bit, so just check that works. Yeah, freeze transforms on that. I shouldn't have frozen transforms on that clavicle there, but I did. So watch that, because I'm freezing the transforms and it's already got the IK parented to it, and if you look at the rotations on that bone, they've all gone funny. So watch that in future. If you don't go through and freeze rotations just like that, I did, and I regretted it. Really, what you want to do is unparent it or unconstrain it, then freeze it, and then put it back. And then the joints, as they are, just won't go bink. Anyway, I'm just getting into the blend shape bit now. So, as I said, blend shapes are really, really easy. So watch this, it's really, really quick. So you select the geometry. I'm talking for ages about, I don't know, something. So you select the geometry and you make a copy of it. Don't freeze that copy. because if you freeze it, when you put the blend shapes back on, the two will kind of move together. It's highly embarrassing. So, grab. Oh, come on, Phil. Come on, I'm talking about something. Just show it. I'm talking about. I must be talking about the character's nose or something, because I think it's kind of the model spinning around. Oh, I'm hiding stuff now. Yeah, there we go. So I'm putting the controls in the layers. Yeah, put those controls in the layers. Yeah, that's it, Phil. There we go. Yeah. Oh, it's me. I'm hearing myself again. Which one's that, Lee? Which one is it? Yeah. I sound so nasal.
It's just faulty the microphone.
Yeah.
I just always add a bit of stuff.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to buy one of those microphones actually.
You're going to buy a sock?
No, I might buy a sock. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to buy two usually. Okay. Hang on. Getting back to what I'm supposed to be doing. Right. So I'll select the vertices for the eye. Make sure you don't get the back of the head. But I don't really give a crap in this circumstance because I just said crap. And it just means the back of his head will move. Just as a point while I'm selecting these verts and moving them, the deformation actually works on vertex numbers. So there are ways that you can get two models to kind of do morphing, but you have to have the same vertex numbers in the same approximate place. So can be a bit kind of disturbing. So I'm just doing it so he's closing his eye. And selecting these verts, moving them down. Oh, he looks angry. And those, selecting them down. Moving them down. Right. So it looks like he's winking. Just tidy that mesh up a little bit. And one thing to note with blend shapes is they just move from A to B. They move straight. Things like bones, you can actually get them to move on a different trajectory rather than just straight. The blends just go from A to B, really. So I'm just creating a blend shape node, which is what you want to attach all the blend shapes. So you'll have a blend shape for the head. So that's the head node, so all the face shape nodes can go on it. So then you select the target, select that one on the right, then one more on the left, which is the original. Create the node from there. Create appears on your I was going to say stack then on your attribute editor. So it's AMP 3D Studio Max users still at heart, isn't that terrible? So and then you can go to animation, blend shape. And then if you look at the original mesh, zoom in and move that, you see winks. See how useful that could be, because that's quite quick. It's quite a quick way of doing it. And then once that's on, you can keep from there. You can put set SDKs on that. So you can link a GUI into that. Once that's on, you can add more blend shapes to that node. So if you do edit deformers, blend shape add, you can put them on that same node rather than creating node after node after node. You can also select that and delete it. Pop, it's gone, and it still keeps the blend shape deformer because it's just storing. It's just referencing the two movements, so you don't have to keep the other mesh. Although it is useful if you're doing this. You want to create a completely new one, just to have another mesh just hidden somewhere, so you can quickly do a blend shape on that. So delete that type, run deformer history from now on, because that's a deformer, and another deformer is going to be your skin and your clusters. So you're building up quite a few deformers here. Right. If I unhide everything, the next thing to look at is... I'll just hide that controller there. The next thing to look at is loose bones for the head. So essentially the same thing as the arm bones, all the different bones you've got. The same kind of thing is using bones for things like the eyebrows. You've got one there for the jaw, so you can just rotate the jaw. So you can see how that you can make quite a nice GUI for that. In the same way as we're going to do a GUI for the eyebrow here, as a demonstration of how to do loose joints and bones for things like the eyebrows and stuff. So I'm going to the front view, zoom in, I'm going to put 3 bones across the right eyebrow. It's got quite a big head, quite a fat head, isn't he? Straight from the front. So X-ray joints, I'm going to create a bone there, press return, just press G to do that control again. No, I'm just going to do the joint tool. I think the next one I'll do is just a G. Press return, G, slap it in there. And then I'm going to reduce the radius of those 3 bones, which kind of makes it a nice size. So I'm going to go down to 0.3 on those, so they're smaller, so you fit more nicely on the face. When you've actually linked these up to a GUI at the top, which I will do in a second, then you can hide those bones, and then the GUI will just kind of pull the mesh. So I'm just going to position these better around the eye and have a look in 3D, because when you skin it up, you're going to look in. You're going to be the kind of it's done on distance, so you want to keep those bones near where they're actually going to be wanted. So stick it at the front of the face. Because the front of the face is quite curved, you're going to tumble around and move those bones, those joints. I keep calling them bones. The joints in there, bones in Max. So move those around the eye. So you've got those 3 there. So what I'm going to do now is create a GUI at the top to move those bones. It's very easy. I'm going to basically parent them back first of all. So child, parent, P, child, parent, P, child, parent, P. There we go. And those 3 can just move up and down from there. Right, and you can see how you can put quite a few controls on the face, so these things move up and down and so on. You probably need quite a few around the mouth, I would suspect, a couple on the cheek, a few around the top eyebrows, and the bottom eyebrows, around the face in general, to get lots of expressions. Right, so I'm going to go in the front view and create a kind of NURBS square. NURBS squares, if you try and move them, always fall apart, so you're going to be wanting to create that square and to not do very much with it at all. It's just to show where the curves that are in it, are based in it, will move. So I'm going to grab 3 curves in there, and those curves are representing those 3 bones. And this is just a quick kind of demonstration on how to do a GUI. For starters, if you're doing this, it's best to put the bones in the midpoint, which I'm not doing here. Best to put them in the midpoint before doing the limit information, otherwise it keeps saying, no, you can't do that, you can't have it less than this, can't have this a minimum. So I want translate Y is the one I actually want to move that curve in, So I'm working on that first. So it's best to, well, put it in the max, ticking it so it's active, put it down to the minimum, ticking it so it's active, and then so it moves those two. I don't really want it to translate X too much. You can put a little bit of translate X if you want to. Translate Z, not at all. So I'm just going to lock that out. And translate X, you can put a little bit, but I'm not going to put any in. You can put some in there if you want. There we go. So it just moves up and down now. So you just basically need to put a driven key from that GUI to that bone. And once you've done that and you're happy with it, then you can hide the bones. So the GUI just affects the mesh. It just goes up and down. Right. So that's the bone. Right. So, yeah, going on about something here. Yada yada yada. Yeah, just go. Demonstrating it goes up and down again. Right, so going to link that with a set driven key. Animate set driven key. There we go. Set. So the driver is the GUI. Load the driver. And that's going to be a translate Y. And then the driven will be that bone, and that will be translate Y again. Key that to the bottom, up to the top, then move that bone up, whoop, only a little bit, and key that. And the result, select it, moving up and down, and it moves a tiny bit up and down. You probably want it nice and subtle. So I'm just going to overkey the original one just to see. Yeah, see, look, it moves up and down a little bit. Okay. So the next one, this fella here. Again, don't want it moving too much in the X or the Z. Just the Y. Oh, pull it back. And click it. Chunk. And click it, and click it. Move it back to where it should be. There we go. Click it. Limit it. So it just goes up and down. Yep. Oh, didn't click it. There we go. Click it. Minimum. It won't do the minimum yet. Max, click it. Minimum, click it. It's always easy if you do the max first for some reason. There we go. And then that's linked to that second bone. So the driver, translate Y. And the driven, the bone, translate Y. That's it. O driven, translate Y. Key it. Key it, move it to the top. Yeah, see it's changed colour, just checking it's changed colour. Up to the top and key that again. Oh, move it. And key that. Check that it works. Of course, if it doesn't move too much, you can go and do it again and again until you're happy with it. So it's a set driven key, and you basically put these all over the face. Once you've got them sorted, you can lock them down and hide all those bones, so it looks as if the GUI is moving everything else. The GUI can be grouped and then parented to the head bone, so it moves with the head, so it doesn't get left behind anywhere. And of course it's non-renderable, which is exactly what you want. Right, and just grouping it there if you want to group it. So then you can put that on the head bone. And calling it something appropriate. Right, so that's how to do the head. Quick lesson. I'll just pause it there, and I'll see you for the next one, which is waiting, and waiting, and waiting.
How many more recordings are you doing today, Phil?
One more.